Hi guys, AJ here. Welcome back to another video at AJ's Car Garage. Now, today I need to try and take some measurements of conrod journals and crankshaft journals and all that. So, yeah, I guess that means you know what's happening today. We'll be unboxing my crankshaft. I'll flip this over so I can put some bearings in big ends and conrods and all that. Yeah, big end bearings, crankshaft bearings, yeah, taking diameters off the crankshaft for the journals, and yeah, doing some maths for the clearance tolerances. So yeah, I've given this place a bit of a tidy up this morning, and yeah, so that's the plan for today. Crankshaft measuring. I should be able to do some decent measuring with that. Yeah, it's good enough to, or should be good enough to get measurements. I know the so that's a sliding vernier. I know the vernier caliper, which is the semicircle looking one, they're a little bit better for tolerance, but you know, I've only got what I got. And yeah, it should be right. So in saying that, let's get to it and open up this wondrous piece of equipment and see if there's any information in there that I need. Right.
I got money, and it changed. I got girls, ain't strange. Not to mention, I don't do the tension. When I'm in your hands, lead through the entrance. And I don't need no guest list when I pull up to the palace. Smoking every room, yeah, we smoking on the chalice. Red cup and we okay. Red cup and we located in the back room where they do things. Everybody know we okay, got a crew living. Gotta be kidding. All of these hundreds and millions, not one of these women's is smitten. All of the money, the feeling, they know that they gonna get it in a minute. But if they can't really cool out, it's so intelligent. Yeah, I feel young.
So at this point I might be thinking that's a bit weird of a box up, but hey, it worked. Screws all around through the top, around the edges that I boxed up, a bit of wood on the sides. Ooh, oh yeah, nice. Got some stickers, put them up here for the time being. Yeah, a bit of wood on the top to brace the bottom, and yeah, I did have bubble wrap wrapped around it and come back in the sheet that I sent. Now all I need to do to remove this, I can either, yeah, well, unscrew from the bottom and the sides, but don't want to be rolling around with that in there. I'll unscrew the top and then unscrew the sides. there it is, guys. Stage 2. Reground, micro polished. So the wood rough key, which is pretty sure what they refer to it as for the keyway. They've supplied me with a new one. They may have been expecting me to send mine along with it, as I do have it down in here. Yeah, they supplied me with a new keyway and done something in here to the old one. So yeah, anyway, the only information on it, which I also asked in an email, and that's what they said in the email too, 1010 bearings. Also, this was x-rayed and crack tested before any work was done to it. Alright, so I said I'd give you a bit of a backstory on getting this sent away. Well, maybe not so much of a backstory, but experience rather. So when I was sending this away, it was the long weekend for Anzac public holiday, Remembrance Day, or whichever it was, and get up early in the morning, do the march thing and all that. Anyway, got it out earlier that week, got it all boxed up, packaged up, ready to be booked on the Thursday, sent on Friday. Now, that all happened, got it all boxed up, all booked up, and by the time it was all booked, it was, sorry, hang on. The Thursday morning, got it all, I rang up the company, got it all sorted, boxed it all up, jumped online Thursday afternoon to book it through the company I was using, because you can only do bookings online. Now, sometime in the few hours it took me to box the crankshaft, wrap it up, box it up, do all that. Yeah, it was about 4 o'clock, went to book it, and for some reason the company that I was using, or going to use, had miraculously stopped doing that shipping option from my area. Anyway, scrambling around online looking for someone else, managed to find someone else. Now, this was mess up one on my behalf, to do with the first order. I instead of saying it was clean, said it was used, wrapped up. I cleaned it. It wasn't professionally clean. Being drained, I went over it with some degreaser and whatnot and give it sort of a half decent clean out. But still, anyway, being used, wasn't able to be sent. So, mess up one on my behalf. Second mess up for order one was the company's behalf that I was using. They neglected to tell me it needed to be on a pallet. It was 2 kilos over the weight that a worker could lift without it being on a pallet and needing to use a tow lift or whatever, whatever they use on the back of the trucks to get heavy items up into them. So that was found out about half an hour beforehand. Only reason because when I booked this online, the internet site was supposed to take me to another area of the site where I could download and print off all the required labels that I needed to attach to my package. Anyway, being this point was like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I couldn't call up, being after hours of the office. I sent an email away, but no one got back to me at all. I got an estimated pickup time for Friday. I ended up taking an hour or two off work to be able to be here for it to be picked up, and that didn't eventuate because mess up number one on my behalf, mess up number two on their end, which admittedly probably could have been my mess up as well, being in a rush to organise and book things. Didn't see fine print or something maybe that said it had to be on the freight, on the pallet rather. Anyway, because no one had got back to me by email, jumped on the phone on the way home from work, blah 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 blah. Shit had to be cancelled. And so come Tuesday, I booked something, booked it again through the original mob that I was gonna use, just through a different service. And so that was booked on the Tuesday to be picked up for Wednesday. Come Wednesday, no one showed up to pick it up. So the Thursday morning, I got on the blower at work to find out what the go was. And anyway, gave him my whole big ordeal, spiel, story. At that point in time, first time user, to try and get something shipped, and stuff wasn't happening right. And anyway, they ended up getting me a customer organised pickup dealio thing. Well, not an actual deal, but I had to go and drop off the package at TNT depot in town so it could be sent from there. I picked up and sent off from there. On the same, so the Thursday, got all that organised, went and dropped it off at the depot. It was picked up on Friday and taken down to New South from here in Gympie, in Queensland. Anyway, on the Friday that it got picked up, someone had come out here to pick up the crankshaft from the previous day, from the booking that from when it didn't get picked up on the Wednesday. So the fella that rocked up to pick it up was annoyed at the fact that it wasn't here, and also annoyed at the fact that people on the phone didn't tell me when I booked it that there was a 2-day wait for bookings, and packages to be picked up and whatnot. So for booking number 2, there was fault for that. And then yeah, also what as well, booking number 2 fault was the fact that I was told, wasn't told that it wouldn't be picked up because I'm outside of a business area, even though I'm operating under a business name. Being in a residential rural area, not in a business area, they couldn't pick it up. I think they might be changing things up and people don't know why or know what's going on or whatever. But that was also another fault to do with booking number 2. And yeah, so anyway, all in all, first experience was rather shit, but we got there in the end. It got down there in a few days. So yeah, it was picked up on the Friday. I think it was down there by the Tuesday. And yeah, now a month later, she's back here. So yeah, it took them, when I say them, I mean it took Atomic Performance a month to do what they done with this. Obviously they have a little bit of wait time for certain things or whatever, but when they got it, it went away and got crack tested and x-rayed to make sure it was all good. It come up 100% fine, so I didn't have to go source out another crankshaft or anything like that. Now, yeah, what they did after the crack test and x-ray, they, I'm not 100% sure, but it's been reground, micro polished, all that good stuff, all the journals, all the oil galleries have been shampooed and bored out bigger. Yeah, so stage 2, I'll edit in to the video a screenshot of what was done for the stage 2 off the site, and I'll also put a link in the description to the Intech crankshaft through Atomic Performance. Alright, so we're about to do some measuring. Got a notepad here so I can put some measurements on. And, crankshaft journals, which is where the crankshaft will sit. And then got the I've just named it crankshaft conrod for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for where the con rods will be sitting, the connecting rods for the pistons. I've also gone over and flipped my engine upside down. I've given the journals a little bit of a touch up through there, just to get rid of any crap. And yeah, on the next little bit, in the next little bit after I do some measurements for the journals and whatnot, I need to install bearings on at least one of the journals in here and assemble the whole thing, and then I'll have to do the same for a piston. So yeah, I'll just pick a random one and bring him to the surface, bring the rod up to the surface, and yeah, see how we go from there. Well, not how we go, but yeah, see what sizes and whatnot. So basically, yeah, I gotta assemble one lot of bearings, measure outwards, and get some measurement, like, yeah, get some clearances, get some, you know what I'm saying, get some measurements for them, for the inner radius and whatnot. And then same for a connecting rod. I gotta assemble connecting rod with bearings and whatnot in it, take some measurements, and then we'll go back over here and do some maths. Now we've got me vernier caliper here. For those of you that aren't familiar with these, they read outside diameter in here, and they measure outside diameter with these claws, inside diameter with these claws. So if I wanted to measure the gap between those two counterweights, I would use the inner claw and just slide him till there's a nice, probably a bit of a rough surface and not a great example, but you know, put him in there until I can sort of just slide him in and out nicely without grabbing on anything. And there's the measurement. So if you're not familiar, your normal measuring through the middle, and then your millimeters, point 1 of a mil, and every other line is 0.02. So that there, the gap that I just measured between there would be 29 point. Now you go with the line that matches up the closest. So there, 20 mil, 29, just before 30, so it'd have to be an 8 or a 9. And looks like I'm a little bit further away too, to a 0.7. So the 7 to me looks pretty close. It could be 6.8 or something. I think that 0.8 mark looks pretty good. Not bad of an example if I was gonna measure the outside. Alright. So I just did those two. So if I was gonna measure the outside, I would use those claws, go on the outside, and again, until I can just nicely sort of slide it on and off. Not the best example to use because rough surfaces and all. And yeah, that'll give you your outside diameter, which would be 73, pretty close to the dot, 79.8, somewhere there. So yeah, anyway, that's that. A little bit of debrief on how to use a vernier caliper, and also it's a depth gauge as well. Anyway, enough babble, and do some measuring and see what we got. So we've got some measurements here. Felt pretty good all across the board. No slipping, just enough. 53.82 mil for all the connecting rods. And then we've got 67.26, 28 or 3 mil. Oh yeah, 0.3. Because they were all pretty close to lining up. Alright, so now guess what I do is go along and put together one of the bearings in here. So we'll get to check out some brand new bearings at the same time now, eh? What do you reckon? Sounds alright to me, I reckon. Alright. Got me big end bearings here. And sorry, not my big end bearings. My crankshaft journal bearings. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open one lot, and I'm gonna need to open both lots, aren't I? I've got to install both halves. So yeah, anyway, my big end bearings are sitting over there. I'll open them up shortly. Anyway, let's have a look at this crankshaft bearing, eh? So there's the difference. There's the old one, there's the new one. Oh, and just a heads up, try not to touch the insides of the bearings as best as possible. But yeah. Right, so there is a difference in not the old versus new, except, you know, the way they look, new to old. But yeah, bottom half only has a little bit of gallery, top half has a lot. So take note in which way they come in and out. So I'm not sure if you have to do this at this stage, but I will. I know obviously assembling a new reworked crankshaft or a new crankshaft in general, you need assembly lube. But just to be on the safe side at this point in time, I will put a little bit in there just to be sure, just to be safe about it. Alright, so I've got my bearing in here. Now I just want to point out that these locators aren't to hold it in place. They are simply, as they state, a locator. Now, when you assemble these, you need to leave just a little bit of bearing on, like, lipping where the main bearing cap goes, so it squashes the bearing into place. You need to do the same on here. There may not be as much, but you can see there is slight amount higher than you know, the main surface of the cap, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is called a crush point. So I don't know if you'll be able to see, but anyway, so that bearing half and this bearing half aren't actually quite sitting in place properly at this point in time. You can see here, just there's the gap, and that gap will go right around the whole thing until it gets crushed into spot. And the bearings, each half of the bearing holds itself into place against the other half, and like I said, those locating tabs just there are simply all that they are for, locating, and that is it. Holds them into place are the caps and the crush zone, the support of itself, the support of each other. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this. I've got the bolts here ready to go, and facing forward, like I set them out the way I took them off, so they should pretty much go back where they came from. And so by the book, 85 Newton meters torque spec for the main cap bolts. I'm gonna ugga it down nice and easy, and then get my torque wrench out and torque it up. So I realised I had to put my girdle on with the main cap as well, otherwise they wouldn't bolt down properly, and because it was yay thick, there was that much bolt hanging out. Yeah, I'm gonna go along, torque it down to spec. Alright, let's do that. So 85 Newton meters, which is what the torque spec is for the main caps. The 62.9 something foot-pound. So let's set him up. Wow, that felt like I was gonna snap them bolts. Woo! Anyway, that's on there, 85 Newton meters. Let's take some more measurements. Alright, so I just measured that, come up 67.46 for the bearing in a diameter, 67.26 for the bearing, the crankshaft journal. So that's a difference of 0.20. Hopefully that's alright. I'm gonna go along now. Well, first things first, I'm gonna take this one off, and then I'll pull number 3 piston up and do the bearing in that. Let's do it. Bleeding. I keep forgetting to unbox shit, eh? So bit of a comparison. Old to new. There's an old one, a little bit worn out and whatnot. There's a new one. I have no idea what sort of finish is on that, but that's what it is. And again, try not to touch the insides with your fingers. Touch the outsides all you want, just not the inside. Again, assembly lube. Alright. Bearing in there, bearing in there, and same thing, same, just doing that bearing. Oh shit, there's one thing I've got to make sure with these. 3 3 so I think 3 so number 3 there, number 3 there, and that should mean that there is fudge light. You can sort of just see it there. Yeah, faint markings. Now, pretty sure they should be the same all the way along. Should have a 1 on it. It does 2, yep, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, yeah, again, crush zone, just told you about that. Yeah, right, now, where is it? Connecting rod cap nuts. 25 newton meters, a further 90 degrees. So, I'll do that. Alright, done up. 25 newton meters, or roughly 19 foot-pound, and an extra 90 degrees. Alright, so I just done the conrod bearing in the conrod over there, number 3. Got 53.84 and 53.82 underneath. To take that off, which would be 0.2 of a mil. So I think maybe we might be right. I'll have a bit of a gaze, bit of a research, and go from there. Back soon. Alright guys, I've had a bit of a suss, and I think it's gonna be too big. Yeah, they reckon 0.001 of an inch of clearance, which works out to be 0.02 something of a mil for every inch of journal diameter. Now it's 2.6 inch diameter, somewhere there being 68 mil, and yeah, so the amount of tolerance needed for that journal, in particular going by what I found on Google, typically being 0.001 thou of tolerant, thousandth of an inch tolerance for every inch of journal diameter, and an example was a 2.45 something inch journal would have a clearance tolerance of 0.0024 or 0.024, can't remember. Either way, working mine out, it come to in millimeters. I've been speaking in inches the last couple of sentences. 0.001 of an inch is 0.2 something, 0.02 something of a mil. For 2.5 inches roughly, was 0.07 something. The maths and everything I did, there's at least 0.2 of a mil of extra clearance there than recommended, or that's mathematically acceptable to a degree at this point in time. There's other tolerances sort of there. There's no run out on any of the journals or anything like that, so there's no need to sort of rough around and estimate, a couple of out this way or that way or because ground crank, brand new bearings. But either way, being the fact that I had to, or was told to order standard bearings, and I did, was told otherwise after the crankshaft was done. So I was trying to play around, trying to work a way around that, and see if I could use the bearings that I got. So like I said, standard bearings, but with an extra 01 clearance or something, 001, and extra oil clearance 0.001 of an inch, which would be 0.02 something rather worth a mil. And anyway, calculations I've done, I've got at least 0.2 mil of clearance between bearing and crankshaft journal. I might just go ahead, put all the bearings in, put my crankshaft in, obviously with no assembly lube between the bearings and the crankshaft at this point in time, but I'll put some plastic gauge on the tops of each journal, and see what they come up as, and that'll tell me exactly to a point whether or not I'll need to go buy some new bearings. So that's that, and I'm back to you soon. So I've been crook for the last week and a half since I started doing this video. Ended up coming down with COVID for a couple of days, but apart from that, I was just flu ridden, I think. My body was really sore, couldn't move, couldn't do anything, and that was before I got COVID, and my COVID was just a couple of days with a cough. Anyway, come good now. Not happy exactly with those measurements. Come to realise while I was editing the video that one of the measurements wasn't 0.2, it was 0.02 for the conrod bearings, and I think that's a little bit too small. Anyway, the other crankshaft bearings, being 0.2 of them, way too big. Gone and ordered the right set of bearings, and hopefully they'll be here in a few days. Now I went looking for an inspection camera. I've got one here from the Zito. We'll crack that open probably in the next day or so and have a look at the insides of some bores. And also went looking for a set of micrometers, and I think they're called bore gauges, to check the insides of the bearings properly. And I haven't got $200 to $300 for a set of each of those, so I'm gonna go see a mate of mine down at his shop and see if he can't lend me some measuring tools. But anyway, that's it for this one, and I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry about the babble, I hope you're enjoying whatever you are doing, whether it be morning, noon or night, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.